All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to One Sober to Another. I'm Wayne, and I'm an alcoholic. I started this live stream just a little bit earlier just to allow people some time to get into the room and to make sure everything on their end is working. If you can hear me, or if somebody is there, feel free to hang out and give me just 1 second, okay? Got to work out one thing. All right. So today's topics, today's topics are pretty simple, and you know, I am going to try to make it as painless and as awesome as possible, both at the same time. If you hear the engine noise from my car, I apologize if it's too loud. Just let me know. I will turn it down. And I got a little music in the background. If that's distracting for you, also feel free to just let me know. Hey, look, first I want to say I hope you guys are having a happy Sunday, and I hope that everything is going well for you in your life. And if it's not, this is probably a good place to be, because if this stream is actually successful, I'm going to try to keep doing this at least once a week in the future so that we can have an opportunity in order to just communicate a little more um, detailed than it would be through just watching a video. Although I do like doing the videos, I'm not going to lie. Um, it's just this is probably a good way in order to transmit to you guys exactly, how I'm doing, and maybe see how you're doing as well. Today we're talking about self-sabotage, because that is a big deal in an addict's or an alcoholic's life, and that is something that kind of haunts all of us who are generally seeking perfection, or um, any kind of I can't find my words, any kind of acknowledgement from someone else other than yourself. Because for me, I spent so much time dealing with myself that I got tired of hearing me, and it felt good to be validated. And sometimes I would set things up so they were perfect, and so that everything was on the level with, what I thought it should be to make somebody else happy. And if it wasn't, I'm going to tell you what, I didn't hang out too long, and I didn't waste my time and energy with those people because it didn't suit my need. If you are coming in, I'm going to let it marinate just a little bit and try to get rid of this banner here, because that is annoying. All right. Well, that was an up close and personal on the camera. You know what? I'm going to just let you listen to some music real quick. Hold on tightly. I don't know if I'm going to get hit up for this or whatever on YouTube, but we'll see, because you guys are worth it. All right. So, self sabotage, man. I used to set up things to where everything was good, and, that my life was functioning the way I wanted it for that brief moment. And I was always waiting for the bottom to fall out, especially especially if it was on point for the nation. If everything was going well and everything, there was no arguments, there was no fighting, there was, I didn't owe anybody money, I was doing well in my job, all those things. If all those things were set up and they were going right, I was waiting. I mean, I was literally at the edge of my seat waiting for the bottom to fall out, man. If you can relate to that point of the bottom falling out, then you understand exactly where I'm coming from. Welcome to the channel. If you are just coming in, I'm Wayne. I'm an alcoholic, and this channel is not solely about alcoholism, but it is to give you a little insight to how sober living is and how my recovery is. If this live stream goes well, man, I'm going to try to make this a weekly thing so that we can all communicate a little bit easier than just watching a video. Right now, I started talking about self sabotage and how I used to line everything up until it would be perfect, man. There was no arguments, there was no fighting. I didn't owe anybody money, all that stuff. If you can hear me, give me a little comment, just to let me know you can hear me. And that way I know that you're there. How? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah. So I would set everything up, and then, I was always seeking, like, for the bottom to fall out. And if it didn't, I would make the bottom fall out. I would cause, I would go out and take all the money out of the bank. I would talk some crap about somebody, or I just wouldn't show up for work. And that would cause that negative imbalance in my life to where I felt comfortable, because all that crap happened in my childhood, and that was the way that I felt that I was receiving acknowledgement. So when the bottom fell out, I felt alive. And if you've ever been to the point where everything was gone and you realize, oh, snoopies, I'm still alive, and you feel good for half a moment, and you're like, wow, that's a little bit of energy. That's a little bit of, self acknowledgement that I'm not dead yet. And that's what, when the bottom fell out, that's what it did for me, is it gave me that one glimpse that I'm not dead yet. I get to go another day. And I would ruin it. I would ruin it so quick, folks. And if you're just coming into the channel, I mean, drop a comment. I want to see if this stream commenting is working anyway. Welcome. Um, so self sabotage, and feel free to comment and ask a question on anything you want to, even when I'm speaking, because I'm really speaking to fill the dead space and hopefully not waste anybody's time when they go back and watch this video. But today is self sabotage, relapse, because relapse is a big deal right now with a lot of folks in the YouTube community, as well, in the recovery community. Hey, I'm doing good. How are you, man? I appreciate the comment. And I just wanted to say, that's my nephew, by the way, if somebody just came in. I just wanted to say, hey, it was awesome talking to you this morning. And I feel like I don't deserve to have you actually acknowledge me because I haven't been around. And that goes back to the whole self sabotage thing. Is when I left the States, I did that to try to geographically separate myself from my family, because we were all so toxic for each other, and we all had like an imbalance. And I just felt that was probably the best way to, you know get out of there and hopefully make things better. And what I did is I created such a separation that there was no continuity within my whole family unit, to include you. And you know I'm grateful that you reached out and you actually accepted, um, me to talk to you. I definitely appreciate that. And I feel that you are a strong young man, and that your life is going to thrive. And I've heard a little bit about you, but I don't know much about you. And for that, I'm grateful that you reached out, man. And it's good to hear from you. Are you doing all right, bro? I'm gonna fill the dead space because I don't know the duration of how long it takes for a comment to actually get back. Um, so, so relapsing, right? And I talk about relapse a lot because that is some people call that an excuse, but in my mind, I'm an alcoholic. It's not an excuse. I did suffer two of them, two major ones in my drunken history that pretty much almost killed me. And right now, that relapse is working on quite a few people, and their lives are in the balance right now, to be honest. Opiates are something powerful. And just like any other addiction, once that chemical and that toxic poison takes over, there's really not much that we can do to pull somebody back unless they really want to do it. Speaking of which, I think I lost a subscriber today based off of that alone. And don't get it twisted. I'm not worried about the subscribers. You guys will come, if you want to enjoy what's on this channel and you get a little bit from it. But so I think a comment I made on YouTube kind of threw somebody off. And, you know, I was just trying to help the guy, and I hope that he's not the one that left. But I suggested a few things to him because he is experiencing a major relapse, and I just want to see him well and see him be able to get back from it. Hey, is this music too loud, or is my car too loud? I'm sitting in a big freaking SUV. I don't know how loud it is. But so what are your thoughts on relapse or mental conditions? Mental situations that bog you down or bring you to a negative place that you're trying to get out of. What are your thoughts on that? Go ahead and drop a comment if you want to, and I'll just keep talking. So I guess I do that enough, right? During during my last major relapse, I found myself, on the floor of my apartment, and it, I was literally begging for my life, and I was literally begging for an answer to why things are the way they are, and to why does this have to happen to me. And I guess you could call it a shallow shout out to God, asking, why me? Why is this having to happen to me? Why do I have to lose my family? Why do I have to lose, you know, why do I have to lose the money? Why do I have to lose everything? Hey, Mikhail, I am keeping my head up, man. And I live in a positive light now. I am 5 years sober. I have not had a sip of alcohol in 5 years. Yay. And that's on February 21st. I am very grateful for my family. I'm very grateful for the things that I have in my life. I'm debt free. I'm doing an add on to my house. And I get to share my experience, strength, and hope with folks like you here on YouTube. And that is a very satisfying part of my life. And I thank you for your comment. And I hope that you're doing just as well, Brian. Brr, I don't even think I said a word. But I do. I hope you and your brother are doing very well. And I hope my brother is treating you guys like you should be treated, because I don't know what goes on there. I don't know. Actually, I don't hear much from him. Once in a while, I do. Anyway, I'm sidebarring. So what else? I don't know. It's Sunday, man. It's Sunday, and I like to think of it as a day where I can actually decompress and think about other things in life, and be able to, share with you guys, and be able to spread my experience, strength, and hope like it is. And hopefully, this is coming through well. Speaking of that, I start a new job tomorrow as a supervisor in a I guess you could call it a convenience store. It's a little bit different for me. I'm used to supervising people with guns and tanks and helicopters and stuff like that. And now I'm going to move on to supervising civilians. And that's a whole nother ball game, folks, because civilians can pretty much do what they want without a repercussion, so to speak, unless it's criminal. In the army, I had the ability to directly impact and influence a soldier's life, and help them make the right decisions, or help them do something, to a certain standard. But I'm gonna tell you, man, retail is a whole nother battle. And if you are someone living in sobriety, I just suggest you take a job up in retail, because that will definitely test your patience. It will test how you view people, and test how you are able to interact and deal with problems on a kind of a superficial level. But yeah. uh um so Mikhail, what are you saying? We are here. He left. It's Super Bowl. Oh, it is Super Bowl. I totally forgot about that. Buccaneers in Kansas City, right? Yeah, it's been a weird football season, so um, I haven't really gotten into it too much. And I tell you what, man, I never even used to have Super Bowl parties, so I'm not really missing much. But I will check out the game tomorrow because tonight it's way too late and I got to work early. Um, but so, what do you mean by my dad left us? Do you mean he went home or do you mean he's gone? Because I definitely can relate to that, man. And you're not alone in that. And if you need any advice or support, reach out to me because I got you. Okay. Um. Wow. So Super Bowl. Super Bowl. Who's gonna win? I go for Kansas City because Patrick Mahomes is bomb diggity and his skills and charisma are on point. Yes, meaning he left. Wow. Well, I got you, man. You can hang out with me, okay? Um, I know the pain of that, and I know what questions you might have going on in your head. I'm not sure what yours are, but I definitely understand, and I hope you don't turn to drugs and alcohol in order to fix that because that's what I did, and that threw me for a tornado that I don't think I'm ever going to get out of. And by the way, man, thanks for coming to the channel because um, I don't know. I feel like it's moving somewhere, and I feel like we are here to help each other. And this is just a prime example of how we can do that. Ah, well, I am so sorry to hear that, man. Guess what? Like I said, I got you. So if you need anything from me, or if I can help you in any way, please feel free to reach out, and I will do what I can in order to be a part of your life in a productive and positive way. Okay, you and your brother. Um, so what is that? I don't know if you want to talk about that or not, or if you don't want me to talk about that on here, just tell me not to talk about it in the comments because I won't, man. I won't put your business on the street. I don't think it's right if you are not if you don't desire that. Okay. So relapses, and when I had my last one, I was on a drug called Antabuse, and I don't know the clinical name still. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you figured I would have looked that up by now, but I didn't. Um, so I was on this drug called Antabuse, and what that led to is it causes your heart rate to increase dramatically. It induces vomiting. Um, it causes you to break out in hives and sweats and everything else. And I drank on this. I tested the waters a little bit. Hey, you got it, man. I'm here for you, bro. Um, I tested the waters a little bit with this drug, and I drank I think a max of like 6 beers, and this was way back in early February of 2016. And I found myself my throat swelled up, my skin was like horribly pocked and broke out in hives and things like that. I was sweating profusely. My heart was pounding through my chest. I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. And, I was just stuck literally on the floor. And, as I was sitting there, and it's not funny. It's just me remembering of how that went. As I was sitting there, I was like, you really are a fool, man. And I answered myself back and I was like, yeah, you're a big dumb idiot, bro. And luckily, with a bunch of daggone water and the help of my roommate, I was able to flush that stuff out of my system and get the alcohol out and not die that night. So that was cool. And yeah, but relapsing is a big deal, man. My buddy is dealing with some stuff. And I can tell by his skin and everything else that he's really hurting. and he thinks people are criticizing him. Well, I'm not going to do his inventory for him, so to speak, but I will say that, man, I wouldn't criticize not a single person who is struggling with addiction or alcoholism, because that is something so serious and so life altering that it's almost laughable for someone else to look down on that, because we struggle, we have a disease. And the way we the way I live in sobriety is to talk to other alcoholics and other people in addiction and people like me who have been through the same experiences, that can understand a little bit about what the hell it is that I'm feeling or what I'm thinking, and what those dramatic events do to a person. If you have any comments on that, any comments on relapse, drop them in the comments section. I look forward to reading them, and I will keep on going because we got just two more things to talk about, and then I don't know. I don't want to end it. I want some more people to visit, um, and see if we can get a couple more folks in here to see what's going on. I'm gonna turn this music up just a scotch, so hang out for a sec. Hey, I'm glad I quit too. My son is more happy than I am, but I tell you what, in order to, and I'm just gonna speak on this for a second. In order for me to be sober, right? I had to decide to not drink for myself, because my last two relapses, I tried to stop or tried to quit all for the wrong reasons. I tried to quit for my wife. She drugged me to AA meetings. I tried to quit for um, my father-in-law and my son and everything else. And when I've experienced disappointments with them, I was right back to the number one solution that I knew, and that was getting drunk again. So what I had to do is I had to decide to quit for me. And when I decided that I wanted a better way of living and I wanted to stop the train I was on, so to speak, that was key. Because even when people disappoint me in my life, or when things don't go right, and even when I'm bogged down with, like, just how the hell am I going to make it through the day type deal, because believe it or not, I do get depressed a little bit, but nothing like I used to. But I don't have to drink over it. That's what I know now, and that's the amazing fact that as long as I don't open that beer bottle, or put that alcohol in my mouth, I don't have to worry about the things that are occurring, because I can deal with them head on and face everything as it happens and as those challenges happen. I mean, seriously. Otherwise, it was like, do or die for me. That's really what it was. So I don't know. I choose sobriety over everything, and that sounds like a bullheaded move, but that's what I have to do to safeguard myself. If if doing this interfered with me being sober, I wouldn't do it. If having the job I have, jacked up the way I was thinking, and it infracted on my sobriety, I wouldn't do it. And that's really what it is. Hell, even if my wife became a means of coming between me and sobriety, I would have to choose to leave, because I wouldn't change this for anything or anybody, because alcohol destroyed my life and addiction destroys lives. And if someone gets the opportunity to be relieved of the obsession of alcohol or drugs, I don't understand how they could go back to it, exception of if there's not a full commitment yet to begin with. And that's just my thought, folks. Don't bash me on that. That's just my thought. If you disagree with that, leave your comments below, because someone else is going to read it and they might agree with you. I don't know. So I'm rambling on a lot. I don't know. I tend to do that. I'm an alcoholic. That's what I do. Get some of this. All right, this is Deutsche Radio. So, all right. Have I drew a blank for a second. Hold up. Ah, rehab. So a lot of people are a little bit apprehensive about going to rehabilitation. going to rehab. And the reason I find that that I was apprehensive, sorry, I'm moving a second. The reason I find that I was apprehensive is that I knew that I would have to stop what I was doing. I couldn't drink anymore. I couldn't go party anymore. I couldn't make my own bad decisions by myself without being accountable for them anymore. And that was the reason why I didn't want to go to rehabilitation. When somebody first approached me with that, and they said, you know what, we got a slot opening in Lawrenceville Regional Medical Facility, and if you want it, you can have it. And you know what, at the time I shouldn't have even argued about it. Instead, I was like, well, when is that? And they said, what they say, it was like a Friday. They said Monday, and I said, Monday? I can't stop drinking on Monday? And they started laughing at me. I was like, why are you laughing at me? And they're like, look, if you want to stop drinking and you want to get better, you need to go to rehab. And I was like, oh, no, 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 no. I have this to do. I have that to do. There's no need for me to go right now. I can do it later. And and they were like, no, man, you're going now. That weekend, because they gave me 2 days in between, which was a total mistake. So I knew that I would have to stop all those things, right? And an alcoholic like me, what do I do if I know that I'm about to be cut off at a minimum 6 weeks? I'm gonna double down, man. I'm going downtown and I'm gonna tear it up. And I'm not coming back until somebody pulls me back, or wheels me back or whatever. So I did that, man. The day that I went to rehab, I drank that whole weekend. I went and got a couple cases of beer, and I drank that whole weekend. And when I got to rehab, oh, let me back that up real quick. So this guy comes and gets me, and he's a higher rank than me because he had to be, just based off of what the situation was. And he was a higher rank than me. He came to get me. I was passed the hell out, and he banged the door down. He came in. He picked me up, like, literally by my shirt, and he was like, "Hey, bro, you good?" I was like, "Yeah, man. Where are we going?" He's like, "Rehab." I was like, "Why are we going to rehab?" He's like, "Dude, you're leaving today." And so he put me in his car. I must have smelled like something horrible. I drank all weekend. I didn't shower. I actually blacked out. Went to a couple parties, I think. Went down to a club. All this other madness. And so I got in his car, and I remember the windows were up, and he just said, "Damn." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Dude, you stink." I was like, "No, I don't." And I probably reek like a big bottle of tequila. I don't know. It's called tequila for a reason. So I don't drink liquor normally anyway. And I ended up drinking every single thing I could find. I'm surprised I didn't kill myself that weekend. Anyway, so I ended up at rehab. And when I got there, they had this little table. They put us in a room, and they put us in table to do all the intake paperwork. And I grabbed a Dr. Pepper or something like that out of the machine before I went in there. I started drinking it and everything else, and this dude started yelling at me. I was like, "What the hell are you yelling about, bro?" And he's like, "Man, you can't drink that in here. No drinks, no food, no whatever in here." And I was like, "Why?" "I'm a staff sergeant." And that's how I talked to him. Or had I had already forgotten that I was a daggone patient, and that me being a staff sergeant was irrelevant to everything going on. And he's like, he said, "All right, you can't drink in here." And he called me by my first name. And I was like, "Whoa, bro, why you calling me Wayne? I'm Staff Sergeant D." And he's like, "No, not here. You're a patient." I was like, "What?" And so even at that point, I didn't realize where the hell I was. And they were like, "You need to go see the doctor real quick." I was like, "Why?" And so they sent me to this doctor, that was just down the hall. And it's a locked facility, so you can't go out of the doorway unless they open it. You can't come in unless they open it. So They told me go down the hall 2 doors and then see this doctor. So I went and saw this doctor, and she's like, "Oh wait, blow into that." And so I was, anybody know Deutsch? So I was like, "Vata, vata, vata, vata," and I was making a joke about doing a breathalyzer, and I didn't realize that I was doing a daggone breathalyzer. Ain't that something? And so I blew a very high level of blood alcohol, and they immediately stopped everything they were doing. They took me down the hallway, and they took me to this intake place. I had to get blood drawn immediately, and then I had to go under an IV. I had to get the EKG put on me, and I had to be under a 3-day medical detox. That was hell, people. That was hell. So after I finally sobered up and all the alcohol was out of my system, um, I had to go answer for that because they were going to kick me out of the rehab facility that day. They were going to kick me out, and they told me not to come back. And I was like, "What the fudge?" And I honestly had to beg in order to stay in that rehab facility. So has anybody ever been to rehab, or do you know someone that has? Because if so, I mean, put your comments below so someone can hit that up, man. Because I'm pretty sure some folks get tired of hearing me, because I can tell my story all day long, every single day. And I just kicked the camera, didn't I? That's okay. And so there I was begging for my life in the front of these like weirdos of all these other drunks and addicts, and I was like, why am I the only person standing up here? And they said, because you're the only person that showed up drunk. And I was like, oh, um, I guess that's a good reason. So, so I pled my case, and I told them pretty much, if I leave here, folks, if I leave here, I will drink myself to death. I'm here to get help. Please let me stay. And it took them 2 days to come back with an answer. I had made people that mad in at rehab on my first day. Damn. All right. So also, a lot of folks are not afraid, but apprehensive about going to rehab because they have to get real with themselves. They have to get honest, and they have to become accountable for what they have done or what they did, or any kind of things that they were a part of that they caused somebody else a little hardship or harm. And then they have to do one bigger, and they have to look inward at their feelings and be able to examine why they feel the way they do and understand the reason why they feel the way they do. And that's a little off-putting for people, folks. Let me tell you, if hey, thanks, man. So your friend went to rehab. You know, I have a lot of friends that have gone to rehab as well, aside from myself, and they experienced a lot of the same things that I did. And a lot of them don't come out on the other end sober. There's quite a bit of people who go to rehab and they still don't want to be accountable, and they still want to hide from what's going on in their lives, and they end up going back to it, drug or drink, at the facility. Matter of fact, I had 3 sets of roommates while I was there, and the second set of roommates decided they were going to go downtown because after 1800, man, you are on your own, because it's all about accountability and it's all about self responsibility and self reporting. So they ended up going downtown, and they ended up slamming a bunch of beers back, and then deciding that getting high was going to be even better to top that night off. And so that's what they did. They went and got high, and the next day they were gone. They were absolutely ghost. But that's what it is, man. A lot of people don't want to accept responsibility for their actions, and they don't want to accept responsibility for what they are doing. Now, to accept it and then kind of play yourself as a victim in the same role, that's not accountability, man. It's truly not. Think about it this way. And if you got a question or anything, just throw it out there, man. I'll answer it. Um, I'm drinking water, by the way. If I say that, yes, I messed up my family and I spent all the money and then I drank whatever bit of everything else that I had. That should be the end of that statement. Not, I spent all the money, I drank, and the reason why I did it is because my wife is always on my back. My my family is needy, and you know, I don't get paid enough. If I piggyback that accountability statement with a victimization statement, I'm a victim. That's not accountability. That's just still looking for that scapegoat and still looking for that way out. So it doesn't really even out. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. I don't know. Just rambling thoughts of an alcoholic. Tell me what you think. I got this water sitting here. Anyway, so right now I'm sitting in my car, right? I'm pretty glad I am because I got the seat heater on and it's 3 degrees outside and tomorrow it's going to drop to -5. And that's Celsius, by the way. So for all you Fahrenheit folks, Google it. But it's supposed to snow overnight and then it's supposed to drop to -5. I'm supposed to go to my first job or my first day at the supervisor position tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. Because if my big old SUV don't want to make it down the road, I got another little car, but I don't know how much gas I got in that thing. But anyway, so I'm glad I'm sitting in here. It's nice, and it's nice to have what I have. And if I wasn't sober, I wouldn't have any of this. I wouldn't. I wouldn't even have the house that I'm parked at in front of, because my wife would have kicked me out a long time ago. So that's really the things I wanted to talk about today is self-sabotage, relapse, and rehab. And I wanted to know if any of you, have experienced similar things. And someone's checking me out in my car right now. They're funny. And yeah, just let me know, you know, if you have enjoyed this video. If you have, give a thumbs up when I publish it this evening when I put the all the stuff together. It should go live here in about, or not live, but it should be published to YouTube almost directly after. But I'm going to add to it a little bit. I'm just going to put an end screen on there and maybe an intro. I don't know. I think this is good enough. Feel free to come back, drop your comments in there, let me know what you think, and I hope it's been helpful. Mikhail, if you have anything else that, hey, thanks, man. Thanks for the supervisor. So I got the job. Um, I got the job. I just have to readapt the way I think about um, retail because I was in the army for 20 years, man. Like retail is so far I've been doing it for 3 years. Let me tell you, it is a challenge of dealing with people altogether. But their supervisory roles are a little bit different. I think they're more administrative and they have, ins and outs as far as associated interaction. I don't know. We'll see. Appreciate it, man. Mikhail, if you need anything, hit me up with what I can help with. And feel free to write me anytime and I will definitely get back to you. Sometimes the hours difference between here and the States is a little challenging, but I'll figure it out. So you guys are awesome. This is One Sober to Another. I'm Wayne, and I'm an alcoholic. Life's a garden. Dig it? I'm going to see you in the next one. You guys have a good evening. Mikhail, take care, buddy.